Before we sit down to play Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, everyone attending the preview event is shown a presentation. This is standard stuff, making sure we're aware of what the game's going for and what we'll be getting up to when we play. The only reason I bring this up is because Sega made the same joke here that it did at Summer Game Fest. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds has crossplay. Mario Kart World does not. It's a silly, light-hearted comment, but it's one that opens Sega up to an obvious retort. Sonic Racing CrossWorlds might have crossplay, but Mario Kart is Mario Kart. It will always be on top. But now, having played the latest build of Sonic Racing CrossWorlds earlier this month, I can certainly see why Sega is feeling so confident. This isn't just off-brand Mario Kart, this is its own beast. Finally, it feels like Sega has balanced its need for Sonic's racing game endeavors to stand out and the player base's need to have a solid competitive kart racer that they aren't embarrassed to pitch to friends.
Sonic Racing CrossWorlds could be the best Sonic racing game yet.
If there's something that previous Sonic racing games have struggled with, it's the feel. In a bid to stand out from the crowd, there was something off about how it felt to race around. Usually because the games were so style over substance and not as if we were actually in control. The handling has definitely improved from Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing onward, but there's been some stumbling along the way, allowing Mario Kart and eventually a Crash Team Racing remake to run circles around the Blue Blur and friends. However, this latest build of CrossWorlds shows that it could give its competitors a run for their money. Before getting into the nitty-gritty, the best thing I can say about CrossWorlds is that it's so deliciously satisfying to play. The controls are tight, the vehicles and characters are varied, and you really feel the impact of all of your pre-race customizations. That alone puts it in the big leagues and makes it hard to put the controller down. For the first hour or so, we just raced through the single-player offerings, but it hardly felt lacking. Playing around with the different vehicles and character stats, I was pleasantly surprised to see that I was given the freedom to make my own mistakes. Go all in on acceleration and handling? Nice and easy race. Putting Shadow, a speed character, on a hoverboard? I was scared I would break the analog stick every time I tried to make it around a corner. I promise that is a point in favor of the game. I loved it. Even after I found my favorite build, the rival mechanic kept me on my toes. It means that there was always at least one racer who would pose a challenge. If they're too easy, then CrossWorlds will give you the option to take on an even tougher rival. And that's how, despite all my years of experience with Sonic racing games, I almost lost to a Knuckles CPU on a relatively low level. The rival mechanic is by far the best thing CrossWorlds has in its corner, even more so than the titular CrossWorlds itself, but I'll touch on that in a bit. As I played, I noticed that many characters had unique dialogue if they were each other's rivals, and I wager that Sonic fans will fall in love with this. I didn't know I needed Shadow and Metal Sonic beef in my life, but now I need both of Sonic's rivals to duke it out, or like race it out on the track. Even putting the writing aside, the rivals really don't hold back. My main gripe with the beta version of the game was that it was far too easy, but here, as soon as I was on a winning streak, I was put up against a higher level rival and they managed to nab the place ahead of me more times than I would care to admit.
There's still something that CrossWorlds hasn't mastered: racetracks.
Now, I played through a lot of the single-player mode. I went through cups multiple times, racing around the same courses again and again, and because of the CrossWorlds feature in which multiple courses are mashed together, I saw a lot from these courses. Unfortunately, I couldn't really tell you much about any of them, and this is where the game is most lacking. They look stunning, as does the entire game, but what makes a course memorable? Gimmicks, challenges, something to make you mix up the way you play? In Crash Team Racing, if you approach Cortex Castle the same way as Crash Cove, you're going to be banging into walls and falling off ledges. In Mario Kart, you can't take on Rainbow Road like it's Baby Park, or the race will drag on for half an hour. That is what engraves these courses into our minds, but so much of what's on offer in CrossWorlds just blends into one. The aesthetics are different, but they are just that, aesthetics. No matter what course we picked or what CrossWorld we were sent to, I never felt the need to change up my playstyle too much. I can only hope that the cups we didn't have access to pose more of a challenge.
Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is so close to excellence. If Sega wants to create a racer that's perfect for multiplayer, then it certainly looks like it's onto a winner here. Chaotic item pools, high speed, vehicle strategizing, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds demands to be played online. Putting such an emphasis on the game being crossplay is a stroke of genius, although it remains to be seen if its unique mechanics are enough to sustain an online player base. Ultimately, I might not have cared which CrossWorld the person ahead of us dragged us to, but I very much cared about beating them, and was given a whole lot of tools to make that happen. Really, I can't ask for much more than that.